from food to culture to education to work and the lifestyle and even dating. You don't want to miss that. In today's video, I'm going to share with you my top 20 differences living in China and also living in Vietnam. Having lived in both countries, let me tell you something. And the number one is something you don't want to make, so please hold on because it's what most people don't talk about. That's a reality. So these are my top 20 differences when it comes to this country. China is a world in another world. That's how I call China. Amazing place. And Vietnam is one of the countries that I felt really surprised for the good things, not for the bad, because Vietnam some years ago you wouldn't like to go there, but now, according to the data in Vietnam Tourism Authority, this year, only this year, 20 million tourists visiting the country. So that tells you that Vietnam is actually growing fast. Let's go in quickly. So these are my top 20. First, let's talk about the weather and the air quality. For weather and air quality, China has extreme seasons. And also some cities have, strong air pollution. For example, Beijing, Shanghai. All right. I know some friends who moved to the lower side when it's extreme seasons in Beijing and Shanghai. So weather situations in China can be really extreme. I lived in Wuhan for some years, and the weather there is different every day. It's raining, it's getting cold, it's getting hot and humid. Wuhan, different every day. Amazing city, and those people in Wuhan can testify to that in the comment section, right? Yes. So let's look at Vietnam. For Vietnam, it's hot, can be very hot, but not as hot compared to China. Yeah, China can also be very extremely hot, but Vietnam's hot, is humid, tropical, of course, and the air is generally better. All right, yeah, except for Hanoi in the which is the capital city, all right, except for Hanoi, the capital city, where the weather during the winter is extremely a bit uncomfortable. But hey, if you're someone who consider the weather and also the air quality when it comes to traveling, then you should look at these two countries. So for me, which country will I prefer in terms of the weather and air quality from my experience? Ah, Vietnam. Hold on. China. Yes. Let's move on to the next one, and that is be the cost of living. The cost of living. All right. Vietnam. You know why? Because the cost of living in Vietnam is generally low, irrespective of the location that you are living. Well, depending on your lifestyle too. I live in Ho Chi Minh before I left there to another low tier city. And when I compare both cost of living at the bigger city and the lower city, yes, it's a huge difference. However, in general terms, cost of living in Vietnam is quite low compared to China. For China, big cities are pricey. Or I remember after my second degree in Wuhan, and I had got a visa as well as a job. I needed to get an apartment. Back then it was a bit pricey. All right. So after some years, I moved to another city, the Sanya city, which is also an island. And the price differences between Sanya city, which is an island city, compared to Wuhan was just a little margin. All right. So generally, I would give the cost of living to Vietnam. It's quite low. So if you're looking for a place to, reduce your cost of living, then I will definitely go for Vietnam. Yes. I know my people in Vietnam are happy for saying that, of course. So that's it for the cost of living. Food culture. Well, for food culture, Vietnam, hold on. Yes. For food culture, definitely is going for China. Why? Because my people eat everything from snake to rat to cockroach, the lizards, just name it, the alligators, crocodiles, everything. All right. So if you are fan of eating everything and if you don't have that bubble stomach, and you can eat everything, then definitely China should be it for you. Definitely. But in terms of food, I'm saying China because there are so many options for you to choose. In Vietnam, of course, you can choose many options, but then you have some limitation compared to China. All right. Vietnam is fresh, it's light, they eat lots of herbs, and the street food is amazing. Guess what? I rarely eat outside because I like cooking, right? It's part of my hobbies. So I rarely eat outside. But guess what? When you go to Vietnam and you move out in the night, every corner on the street, you will see street food. And it's amazing. So simple kind of life living over there. I mean, trust me, you don't want to miss that experience. So if you have the opportunity to go there, just keep your eyes on the street and you will testify to this video that yes, in terms of street food, I would say Vietnam is the heaven for that. So far in all the countries I have been to, Vietnam definitely will go for street food. So Vietnam. But in terms of food culture, if you want different dishes to try, then it's China. It has endless dishes for you to try, from the spicy Sichuan food, which you have to try. I tried a number of times and it's quite good. But if you don't like spicy food, please don't try the spicy Sichuan because your stomach can run very fast. All right. And China, I mean, their food has very strong flavors compared to Vietnam. All right. So, and if you don't like vegetables and the herbs, I like herbs. Yeah, as you can hear, I like herbs. I like drinking herbs. It's good. It's very healthy. So you should try. Let's talk about street safety. In terms of street safety, I think both countries, Vietnam and China, are safe. Well, I can walk in Vietnam without looking at my back. Same for China. So security is very top notch. All right. Cameras on the street. Every homes, most homes, not every, do have cameras for their own personal safety. And these are the things you also have to learn when you travel to these countries. Yes, the government is providing the security and your safety, but you also have to put your own personal safety. Yes. So you have to look at that. So street safety, definitely the two countries, Vietnam and China, both countries are very safe, especially for solo traveler. So if you're a solo traveler out there and you feel like you will not be safe in China and Vietnam, I have lived there. I have lived in these two countries, and I can tell you that you will be safe. Motorbikes. Yes, Vietnam is the heaven of motorbikes. From my experience and the countries I have been to now, I will give that motorbikes to Vietnam. It's huge. Millions of motorbikes on the street everywhere. So you watch your back when you are on the street in Vietnam because the motorbikes are extremely. So for street safety, you don't have to worry for both countries. Public transport. Oh, okay, not Vietnam. In terms of public transport, definitely China, all right? The subways, the taxis, the buses, the trains, the airport, the planes. Come on. You know, it's one of the things that make me mix China because the transport is easy wherever you want to go. It is quite easy for you to plan your traveling and move. I like traveling. When I want to travel, I just pick where I want to go, and transportation is very easy. I have a personal driver that if I want to go somewhere far and I cannot drive, I will call him. He will come, and then because we live in the same community like family, train station is easy to go. Pick your fast train or the slow train, wherever you want to go. It's very, very, very comfortable. In fact, China has world class trains, metro systems, and guess what? The digital ticketing. It's amazing. For Vietnam, of course, buses and motorbikes are most common, all right? And metro is still growing. And that is why I like Vietnam, and I got surprised when I first went to that country because the things you hear are not the things you see on the ground. I'm telling you that. Vietnam is actually growing very, very fast. So you better join if you have the opportunity to visit there for tourism, education, whatever purpose. Just go and experience Vietnam and you will love it. Yes, I did. And I love it. So the bus system and the motorbikes are most common transportation system. And like I said, Vietnam transportation system is still growing. They're expanding the roads, metros. The metro is also growing in some of the big cities like Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh. And that's a very, very positive sign. So, in terms of transportation, public transport, definitely China. Yes. Now, let's talk about language barrier. Okay. Language barrier. In my first 6 months in China as a student and studying Chinese, I thought Chinese was difficult until I moved to Vietnam. I didn't know that Vietnam was the most difficult or hardest language for me so far. Yes. In China, about 6 to 8 months, I was able to speak some basic communication in terms of the language. On the street, if I want to buy something, I have to ask for the price, personal introducing yourself. All right, maybe on the street, I want to buy some apple. So, ni hao, ni hao ma, meaning how are you? Ni hao, jiga shego, do shao chen. So that means this apple or this fruit, how much? Pingo is apple, so shego is fruit. Ni hao, jiga, pingo, do shao chen. Okay, and maybe Ashikwa or maybe Shikwa. Shikwa is 10 yuan, or maybe Ashikwa is maybe 20 yuan. All right, basic. Guess what? When I got to Vietnam some years back, it was quite difficult for me. It took about a year or two for me to get some basics. Vietnamese language for me is one of the hardest language so far. But now I can say some basic stuffs. But when I was in China, it was quite a bit easy. So, in my perspective, Vietnamese is the hardest language to me and my experience there. So, I say that. Okay. All right. So, definitely language barrier, Vietnam. China, I didn't have huge language barrier compared to when I was in Vietnam. So, if you like language, don't get me wrong, language is very good. If you can speak different languages, it's good. But you should learn the basics because you are living in these countries. You are living in different countries. So far as it's not an English speaking country, then you should learn the basics so that you can be able to communicate. Because definitely, if you meet a Chinese who can speak some basic communication in English, he or she will never do that. I've seen that and I experienced that so many times when I was in China. They have some little, of course, English is not popular as compared to Vietnam in China, but they love their language and they don't want to leave their language and speak English. So when they meet you and they can even speak a little, they will still use Chinese to speak with you. And that is where you have to try and learn some basic language. like greetings and asking for help, you should be able to do that. So I have some little basics when it comes to Vietnamese. Not in this video. In the next video, I'll share some Vietnamese skills. All right. Like Xin Chao. I mean, it's like Ni Hao, hello. All right. Xin Chao. Bantelazi. I mean, what is your name? Ba Hiao Tien. Ba Hiao Tien. So Ba Hiao Tien means that how much? All right. Ba Hiao Tien. I know my Vietnamese people are laughing at me. The internet and comment and censorship. In terms of internet and censorship, definitely not Vietnam. China. In terms of this area, China has a very strong internet, but many apps such as the WhatsApp, Instagram, Google, and many more Western countries applications are blocked. You cannot use them unless you use the VPN or the siphon or whatever it is to use. So sometimes communication becomes difficult if you don't have the VPN. All right. There are very few times that you don't need the VPN or something to do that, but most of the time you need a VPN to use the Western application. People in Vietnam can, comment in the session and they will tell you that. Why? I think they are protecting the country, whatever. For security reasons, political reasons. I'm not a politician, so I don't know about that. Okay. So, in terms of internet and censorship, I think that is China. They have very strong censorship, very strong internet connection, and cheap. It's not expensive. So the problem you will have in China is when you are not able to use the Western, popular like WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp to communicate with my family, friends all the time. And you cannot use that. You have to get a VPN. So if this will be a stumbling block, then you need to get a VPN before you go to China. For Vietnam, internet is very open. Easier social media access. Very easy. You don't need a VPN in Vietnam. Working culture. For working culture, definitely still China. I work in China and I work in Vietnam, these two countries. And China is fast paced, all right, and very strict, very, very strict schedules and intensive, extremely intensive. In China, I used to work like 10 to 12 hours a day, most times 10 to 12 hours, or even 10 to 11 hours a day. And then following morning, 7 or 7:30, I have to be at work. Very intensive and strict schedules. You don't want to make the schedules. Once you are 1 minute late, your salary will drop. All right. So that is how strict the working environment is, and a very fast pace. All right. You have all the resources to do the job. So it's very fast paced, and you should be able to be very active. All right. Always be active. If not, you'll be left behind. All right. The rush, the hustling. All right. Now, after that experience in China, let's talk about Vietnam. What I experienced in Vietnam is more relaxed. Not relaxed like you have nothing to do, or it can be also tiring in Vietnam. But when I look at these two countries, definitely I'll give it to China as in terms of work culture, that more intense environment, right? Vietnam is friendly work environment, very friendly. But of course, generally in Asia, from my experience and the countries I have been to, there is lack of collaboration respect in terms of the working environment. And sometimes it's because of the culture differences from the Asian and the Western. All right. Many times I've experienced that collaboration disrespect. But from experience, you should know how to manage it. You don't fight your colleagues. You just have to know how to manage that kind of collaboration, disrespect when you experience that. I met different foreigners and they have the same kind of experience of that collaboration, disrespect, and your cultural awareness has to come in because you should know that you're in a different environment. So definitely how they will collaborate with you will not be the same with how your home country person will collaborate with you. So in terms of working culture, whilst Vietnam is more relaxed, friendly working environment, supportive employers, those who are good, the good employers. Fortunately for me, thanks to God, all my visa sponsorship jobs, only few employers were crazy. But and it all add up to the experience. So I don't hold any grudges against them. Yeah, it's part of the experiences. And that's the working culture for both countries. So if you want to work in any of these countries, what I would say is you look at yourself and then see which of these countries will best help you. For foreign community, come on, Vietnam. They do have a lot of foreign communities on social media, and it even transfer from there to the physical meetings, all right, where they meet ups, discuss things related to them. So the foreign community in both countries, I think Vietnam has a huge number in terms of foreign community compared to China. All right. So there is a big expat community in Vietnam, and they are very welcoming. Recently, I had some chats with one or two of them in a group, and they are welcoming. And for China, it depends on the city, all right? So, in terms of Shanghai and Beijing, the foreign community there is huge. Yeah, it's huge compared to the smaller cities, all right? But for China, it's quite huge. So, if you're looking in terms of these two countries, when it comes to the foreign communities, then I think Vietnam has the numbers. From my experience, Vietnam has the numbers in terms of the foreign community. Local friendship. This part, it's amazing, right? In China, people are friendly. They are friendly, all right. But then there are friends who will take you for life. Like some friends I have in the immigration, once you are friends for life, and that is China. They take you as a friend, then you are their friend for life. That is my experience there because all the people that I met from work, from education, there are those that today we still communicate, and it tells you how they cherish good friendship. In terms of Vietnam, Vietnamese people are warm. I can tell you that. Smiley. You see their face, they are smiley, all right? And also curious. But there is something you don't know about the Vietnamese people. They are chatty. Okay. Not in the bad terms, but they are chatty because on the street, they want to say something to you just because you are a foreigner. They will either chat about you, you can see that they are talking about you. What can you do? So they are chatty, and those with confidence and can speak some basic language, the English, even if they cannot speak the English, they still want to approach you and say something with you. And I experienced that so many times in Vietnam. In Vietnam, I had so many good friends there in my neighborhood. They all like me. They will be knocking at my door. Hey, come on, let's eat some dinner. My employers, amazing, all right? And there are one or two amazing people I have there, and trust me, you don't want to miss the warm nature and friendly side of the Vietnamese people. Amazing. Same for China. I mean, once you are their friends, you are friends for life. And I still have people like that in my life from there. We talk once in a while, check up on each other. My employers, there are two of my employers who gave me the visa sponsorship jobs. We still communicate. Even sometimes when they need teachers, they will contact me to help them recruit for them because I work with them and I know the working culture, the company vision, and what they want to do. They are now like a family, you know. So that is how the local friendship when it comes to these two countries. Amazing people. Local friendships, both countries, China and Vietnam. Amazing. From my experience, so both countries, you do not have a problem in terms of friendships when you go there. So, yeah. Now, food prices. Vietnam $1, $2 meals are normal. I mean, normal. You wouldn't spend much on eating unless it depends on your lifestyle, right? For someone like me who rarely eat outside, even when I'm invited for dinner, lunch, sometimes it's difficult because I cannot go for all the invitations, right? That's why my neighborhood, when in Vietnam, they will always knock on my door. Once they know my motorbike is parked there, they will come, they know I'm there. All right. I cannot go for all the invitations. So sometimes, respectfully, in the cultural sense, you respect the culture. Sometimes I'll go, other times I'll just respectfully decline. Yes. So food is not expensive. All right. China is still cheap, but some cities can be pricey in the big cities. All right, can be pricey. Beijing, Shanghai can be pricey. And in terms of food prices, it depends on you, how you want to live your lifestyle, how you want to eat. I'm not a breakfast person, even though it's not good. I really eat breakfast sometimes, but then you can eat your 3 square meal and still save money because in both countries, food prices are not extreme and will not break your bank. So, Vietnam and China, I mean, say maybe China a little bit top, but it's moderate for both countries. For apartment living, let me put Vietnam here. Okay, for apartment living, definitely China. China or the Chinese apartments are modern, really, really high modern um, buildings, high rises with elevators and security. The security in China is top notch. Even the subway, a power bank, you cannot go through the subway, just the subway, not the train, with a power bank more than a certain power limit. You cannot. There is always a limit. So sometimes when I see some videos in some of the countries like UK, US, and that kind of freedom, you can go inside with any power bank. Nah, not like China. They take every little thing very serious. They take everything serious. So the apartments are really high with elevators. And I lived in the, I mean, I experienced that in Wuhan. I was on the 17th floor. I mean, the apartment when I started working on my visa sponsorship job. When I moved from Wuhan to another city, the Sanya city, I was, I think, on the 5th floor. Vietnam isn't like that. Okay, Vietnam high rising apartment is just still growing. So in terms of apartment living, if I will choose China, not Vietnam, so this way. I would choose China in terms of apartment, how modernized it is, the amenities, the security facilities is crazy. It's amazing. Clean, the apartments. Vietnam, they have a mix of homestays. They have a modern apartment which is growing up, like the Vin homes and Vincom. Building, changing that, and also studios. All right, so I would choose China in terms of apartment living. Social life and nightlife. Okay, I like traveling. It gives me a different perspective. Like so many things I get when I travel. So in terms of social life and nightlife, hey, definitely I think Vietnam. You know why? Because in Vietnam, even though most streets will close or most things will close between 10 or p.m. or 11 p.m. Social life and nightlife is amazing. The bars, the cafes, in the morning, in the morning, the evening, you walk all the drive on the streets of Vietnam and you can see what I'm talking about. About cafes everywhere. And social gatherings. They meet, they have some breakfast, and they go for coffee before they go to work. And I experienced that there, and it's amazing. It was a different kind of life to experience that. You meet for a breakfast, and after the breakfast, we drink some coffee at the cafe, and after that, we go to work. Bonding, you know? So it's amazing when it comes to that social gatherings, and they have a very active nightlife, especially in the big cities. All right, they have a special, nightlife there. And one thing you should know about Vietnam is also that their life is very calm compared to China, that is very intense. So China, big cities party really hard. Shanghai, Beijing. Those Shenzhen, yeah, that technology city, they party really hard, all right? But smaller cities are quiet. So in terms of nightlife and social life, I think it's Vietnam. Even though Chinese can party all day to the following, like they start at night, they will end in the following morning. And they're not going to work, they will go to work. So you should check your lifestyle before you move with these people. They eat, drink, eat meat, drink, and just like that, smoke. It's their lifestyle. So if it's something that you like, you can join them. If you don't want to join them till the following morning because you have to go to work, respectfully, you ask for permission and you can go. So these are yeah, in China, I have some police inspectors who were my friends and they will invite me out after work and I'll join them. Most often, I get invitation for lunch and dinner in both countries. So you have to just check how you live. So in terms of the social life and nightlife, if you are someone who really enjoy this and you take this serious when it comes to traveling, both countries are good for you to try. They are good for you in terms of that. Motorbikes and metro. Trust me, Vietnam motorbikes culture. There are millions of motorbikes in Vietnam, just like this. That was my first experience when I moved there. And this city is Ho Chi Minh City, you know, and just look at that. The rush hour time. So motorbikes culture is everywhere in Vietnam. You need to learn how to drive the motorbike if you really want to move really and adjust yourself to the system and know how things work. Motorbike, you should know how to drive, all right? I knew how to drive when I was in China, so my life in Vietnam, how to drive the motorbike was not difficult for me. Yeah. Then China is metro culture. So Vietnam is the motorbikes and China is the metro culture. Metro, I mean, it's everywhere and it's very quite easy to get, very affordable too. It makes transportation system very good. I think China has one of the best transportation system and I love that. Like I said earlier on, it's one of the things I really miss when it comes to China because it's well structured, so great, and the security is amazing. All right, so the metro culture is in China, whilst the motorbikes culture is in Vietnam. So you need to look at both sides so that you get to know what to do. I mean, when I was in Vietnam, there are some expatriates or foreign teachers who couldn't drive. So the company will have to give them maybe a grab or a taxi to pick these people to their workplace and bring them back. So you should learn how to drive. But trust me, when you go to Vietnam, be very careful because of the motorbike culture, because your lungs will definitely vote for China. All right. So you need to be very careful with that. Now let's talk about something very interesting here. Shopping and the convenience. Shopping and convenience. Definitely I'm giving it to China. My friends in Vietnam, don't fight me. Wait. Because there are so many options. All right. We have the Taobao, Alibaba. Just name them. All right. So many options. And delivery is top notch. They do delivery for everything you want to buy. Anything you want, they will tell you they can give it to you. Anything they will tell you, they can do it for you. So in terms of shopping and convenience, definitely it's China. Yes. Vietnam is like I said, is growing. And when a country is growing, you have to check them out because amazing things can happen. All right, when a country is growing. So that is one of the things I liked about Vietnam. I mean, it's growing and you should be part of that growth with a travel or with maybe a visit experience there. If you want to, hey, it's your choice if you want to. So, and Vietnam also have the Grab. In the UK, you say Uber. So Vietnam has a Grab. They have the Shopee for online shopping, but slightly slower. All right. So in Vietnam, it will take like maybe 3 to 5 days. But most times in China, you get it between 2, 3 days. You know, so delivery is very top notch. So shopping and in terms of its convenience, China. Now let's talk about salary differences. You know, this question most times I get from the locals when I was in China and Vietnam. They ask me, so how much is your salary? I don't know why they want to know my salary because why do you want to know my salary? My mom doesn't even ask me. No, that was just by the way. So salary differences, well, definitely China, not Vietnam. Vietnam, I love Vietnam. But in terms of salary, China, I mean, in China, it's higher salaries for the expats, especially teachers. All right, especially teachers. I mean, the salary is higher compared to Vietnam. So the question I get most times when I moved to Vietnam was that, hey, why did you leave China for Vietnam when you are getting higher salary there? But we all have our life plans, so I know why. Okay, so Vietnam, I mean, have lower salaries, but cheaper living, so that balances it. All right, China has higher salaries. And yes, you can also balance your living if you want to, depending on your lifestyle. So, in terms of these two countries, salary differences, I would definitely say China because they pay higher compared to Vietnam. So, if you're looking in terms of a visa sponsorship job in any of these two countries, you can decide for yourself which one will better fit you. I like both countries, all right, for one or two reasons, okay? So you also have to look at yourself and what will help you, and then you make that decision because I cannot decide for you. That's why I'm sharing this video for you to help you to decide. Please, if you like this video up to this point, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for me. This will give the YouTube the opportunity to also share, and it will also help me to do more travel videos for you so we can all share together and benefit. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Nomad, and put me on notification sign. Like this video and share to your friends, families who wants to visit these countries. Thank you so much. Let's talk about bureaucracy in these two countries. Bureaucracies. I think that in terms of bureaucracy, China is very organized, but very strict with rules. A Chinese said no, it's no. You cannot change that. So many times I go to the immigration and to renew my work visa, and Even your name change, how you arrange your name can take you a longer time for you to finish whatever you are doing. The rules are very strict, and China is very organized. Hey, one of the most organized countries I have been to. So, in terms of bureaucracy, China is very, very strict and very organized. All right. I have, an immigration officer who is a friend, but because the rules are strict, he nearly canceled my visa in my latter days when I was in China. Because, yes, we are friends, but hey, the rules are rules. So, very organized and very strict with rules. So, if you are someone who do not follow rules, China will not be the place for you. Yeah, that's the truth I have to tell you. Vietnam is flexible, but sometimes chaotic. And I think now Vietnam is gradually improving. And I like that. I like how country is actually growing in all the areas in terms of transport, education, making changes, transportation. They are building subways, expanding the roads networks, and that is good. It's a good sign that the country is developing. All right, you can see, and the people can also feel that. Yes. So both locals and foreigners benefit. And I like that. It's one of the things I like. I like so many things about Vietnam, and one of them is what I've shared with you. So, Vietnam, in terms of bureaucracy, is flexible, but sometimes chaotic. I had experience there when I have to be doing visa run because of my work visa processing. And imagine the financial cost that comes with. You have to leave the country and come back again, and they have to process. And you come back with 1 month visa, and still the immigration has not been able to finish your work visa, and you have to go back again because you cannot overstay the country. Once you overstay your country or the country, you get fined. So I don't want to get fined. I don't want to be put in the system that this guy had a overstay in the country, which can affect my travel history. So I have to leave the country for the second time and return again. So it's sometimes really chaotic. So you have to look at both sides and how you want things to be. All right. Do you want a chaotic one but flexible, or you want the very organized and strict rules? The choice is not for me to make for you. You just have to decide for yourself. So that will come about the bureaucracy. Now let's talk about something very important that is also happening, and that will be number three, and that is the food delivery speed. For food delivery speed, Vietnam, hold on, China, because in 10 minutes you can get your food in China, and now they are using drones to do delivery, even to your apartment, to some pickup point. It tells you how the country, to me, is not just a country, it's a world in another world. So, in terms of food delivery, I think China takes it. Yeah, seriously, China takes it because in 10 minutes you can have your food delivered. For Vietnam, like 15 to 25 minutes, but still impressive. It can be better. So 15 to 25 minutes, still impressive. The number two is the culture shock. That's my experience. The culture shock level. Vietnam is soft and friendly. Come on, Vietnam. Oh, I love you guys. Vietnam is soft and friendly and really calm. Vietnam is soft and friendly, really calm. So I like that too about them or about that country. Culture shock for me, I think it's China, yes, but hey, it all comes part to the experience of life. You travel, you learn, you unlearn, and then you grow. You understand? So for culture shock level, Vietnam definitely is soft and friendly. And here we go for the number one. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe to the channel so that it will help this channel to grow and also help me to share more travel information with you. Thank you for subscribing. Now, the number one is the quality of life. So, when I'm asked why did you leave China when the salary is higher and you moved to Vietnam some years back, and I got that question so many times. When I was leaving China, my boss asked me, why are you leaving, Sam? Are you returning back? You see, China is smoothie. China is fast. China has a very advanced system. Beautiful. Vietnam is relaxed. China is intense. It's intense. Vietnam is gentle. China isn't. From my perspective. I mean, community driven, definitely both countries do have a strong community driven, but I think I will give maybe China 9.5 and maybe and Vietnam 10 in terms of community driven, very, very community driven. Even in my neighborhood, how they like to connect with me, you have no choice than to also open up and connect with them. I mean, it's good. You connect to each other. So depending your personality trait or depending on your personality, I know my personality. So these two countries, I'm good with it. So based on your depending on your personality, you can decide whether you want a fast life or a chill life. All right, fast life definitely China. A chill life where you are calm and doing things, Vietnam. But hey, Vietnam can also be tiring. Don't get me wrong that. Not only China where it's intense. And I have experienced the intense, chaotic, strict rules, very, very strict rules. Vietnam, I experienced there too. I like both countries. I love both countries. for many different reasons. So if you want a fast life or a chill life, depends on your personality, then you should look at both countries, which one will help you either for visit, education. These are my top 20 differences between living in China and Vietnam. I love Vietnam, I love China, I love both countries, and for so many reasons. What do you think from these 20 top differences? Which one strikes you most? And let me know in the comment section which of these countries you would like to go or visit there first. Is it China or Vietnam? Both countries are amazing, but which one would you choose to live in? I lived in both countries. So, and I loved it. All right. So, which one will you choose? Comment below. Don't forget to like this video, share, and please do me a favor and subscribe. It will help me to do more videos. Please comment below. Don't forget to like it, share, and subscribe. Okay, for more travel content. And before I go, you should watch out for my next video, which I'm going to talk about 10 years, 5 countries, and 10 lessons. China, Singapore, Philippines, Vietnam, and the UK. I'm going to share with you. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is always Nomad. Don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate your time watching this video. In Vietnam, they will say, come on, yeah, come on, yeah. In China, let's say, 谢谢你. In French, let's say, merci, mix. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.